Yeah, for this video I'm going to be talking about how it is to be less than half of what the weight I used to be, from being 200 kg to literally 95 kg. We're going to have to start in the beginning, give you guys the background. I came from a very pretty much obese family, very poor, like coming from Madeira, which is one of the Portuguese islands. I was one of the first kids that was born, like one of the first generations born in the UK, and because of my family growing up at a time that it was very poor, they were very you couldn't really get food. You had to be a farmer to consistently pretty much get food if you was lucky. Growing up in a family like that, they didn't have the best knowledge on nutrition, how to cook certain things, and what is the best for your overall diet. I've always been pretty much obese in my whole kidhood, teenagehood. I was never in a reasonable size. I was always way bigger than I needed to be, and even at one point I was starting off secondary school, I was already super obese. I was one of the most obese kids. Even in the schools I was in, I was always most obese kid and stuff like that. And later on in my teenagehood is when I started to work on my fitness bit by bit. One of the biggest things I had to do was stay consistent. I had to learn about how to deal with food, because I was a natural comfort eater. I was an emotional wreck pretty much, and I was very fortunate growing up. Used to at least go allotment. For you guys that don't know what allotment is, pretty much a place that you can grow potatoes, a lot of people that like to grow stuff, plant in, all of that type of stuff. And growing up I used to do that, go to farms, have a bit of a farm life. And yeah, because my dad pretty much is a farmer for the most part, construction worker, so he was showing me the ropes and all of that. It's one of them ones that I was always obese, and I was very fortunate that in my teenage years I was pretty much starting to get more fit. I was seeing a lot of changes at first, pretty much with clothes being looser, and then all of a sudden you're needing new clothes because the clothes are too big. When it occurred to me that my skin is sagging, it's not looking good, then that really surprised me, because I wasn't thinking about that. And that is one of the hardest things to deal with, is pretty much the skin. If you're lucky, if it actually shrinks on you, if you actually tighten up, because a lot of people will get surgeries because of loose skin, because pretty much they're losing weight way too quickly, or their skin just won't go back no matter how long they wait. And I was very fortunate that I started when I was 15 to try to tackle that as much as possible. One of the things for your skin is that you're gonna have to take really good care of it, really switch up your diet. One of the most frustrating things was that if you was losing too much weight at a period, and then all of a sudden your skin is more sagging a bit, you're gripping onto it very easily. It pretty much I used to be able to grab my skin pretty much how I grab my t-shirt. At one point it was mad, and then had to put on weight again. Well, I didn't have to, I was depressed and put on the weight again, not all of it, but some of it. And then I was just pretty much easing into it bit by bit. But one thing that really helped me was to build up muscle, build up as much muscle, trying to be as consistent as possible, not in a strictly bodybuilder or a power lifter routine, not it's a bit of a mixture, but also a bit of cardio so you get your heart rate going as well. Because one of the reasons that I actually got into fitness is because I was realizing that I actually wanted to do things when I was older. I never really cared about how I look, or to be get the most aesthetic physique and all of that type of shit. In my opinion, bro, I would rather be a person that can do something very well than a person that looks like he can do shit, but when you put him under the pressure he can't do nothing. Kind of a useless pretty looking guy, one of them ones. And I have to admit, there was times that I lost weight very quickly, and it just felt odd. Even your body is not even used to it, because you're used to operating a certain way. Even the way you would walk would change. And Yeah, it was one of them ones that it will kind of surprise you more than anything. One of the great things about being at like half the body weight that I am now is like all of the challenges that I didn't think that was gonna be challenges like at all in the beginning and stuff. Going through that process, it builds up your confidence. It gets you to be outside more, because I was very introverted. I didn't really like socialize as much, so yeah, that had like bad side effects when you're like not really having anyone to like check on you, so you're just doing whatever, you're just eating whenever, you're playing games, you're just moving crazy pretty much. And I was fortunate that I had some people here and there check on me and say, oh bro, you should do this and that. It's one of them ones that I'm very glad to have people mention things that made me realize like, yeah, I need to like be on my game pretty much. And I'm very glad that I am at a point that I have magically avoided like to get any surgeries, anything like that. All I did was like pretty much stay consistent on like do the exercise and take care of my skin as much as possible. Scrub, whatever, moisturize like crazy. You have to go pretty much insane on your skin if you want it to tighten up as much as possible, and also to have a reasonable diet. If you're doing more high intense, you're gonna be sweating a good amount. Make sure you stay hydrated. I used to just walk around for the most part to lose weight. For a few years I didn't even bother like going to the gym consistently. I had to walk around a lot. Instead of like using the bus, I would walk. I would make more excuses to like do stuff. Also try to drink not as much like soda. I used to drink a lot of like fizzy drinks, soda, Fanta, Coca-Cola, all of that stuff. Even though like I do have Monster here and there, but I make sure it's the zero sugar. The white Monster is pretty much like the only one I do drink some of the other ones, but that's to like have a little treat here pretty much. We was first walking a lot for the first few years. That does okay if you're doing more than like 10,000-15,000 steps a day. That will do you good at first, but after a while your body is going to get used to it. That's another thing you're going to have to learn, is that your body just keeps on getting used to whatever you dish out. Like in a week or two it will already be used to it, because we are very adaptive. So that's why we have to keep pushing ourselves in different ways. But yeah, after a while, you know, like when you go to like the adventure playgrounds and they got like the outside gyms and stuff like that, I will do some of that. But in the last 2.5 years I have been consistent in the gym, going at least 3 to 5 times a week, and that has been the best thing that I could have done. And I'm at a right point to do that as well, because if I was to put in the amount of work that I put when I was at like 200 kg compared to when I was going to the gym in the last 2 years, I was like 110, 115, something like that kg. So in the last 2 years I've lost 20 kg, and it's crazy because I've lost that much in like fat, but I've built a lot more muscle in the meantime as well. So it is good. Even t-shirts I was wearing, it was like I was going from XL to L when I was losing weight. Now that I'm like putting on muscle, I'm kind of getting back to XL. So that is a very interesting one. Well, at least with the t-shirts. With my legs, I used to have fucking huge legs. At one point my waist used to be fucking 56, guys. 50 fucking 6. I guarantee some of you guys didn't even know fucking 56 waist fucking existed. Like I've got a friend, yeah, he wants to get big, and he's always like, oh, it's never over like 36 or 38, and it can never hit 40. And I was thinking, bro, you're gonna have to be huge for that. The way I feel right now, being more fitter than I've ever been, is absolutely amazing. It's even more than I like knew basically like kind of existed, if that makes sense. Because when you're growing up obese, you don't think anything wrong with it. You think it's normal. You think it's just how it is, especially when I'm young and everyone in my family is like, well, not everyone, but most people are like big one way or another. Like either super fat or tall or something like that. And I used to watch like wrestling, and you see all of these wrestlers super huge, and I'm like, bro, I want to be like these motherfuckers, just big, just walk anywhere, like motherfuckers just know how it is. Like, so yeah, like that does play an influence as well. yeah, sorry for this. This is pretty much like just me rambling. This is not really structured. I'm just trying to be as transparent as possible. So many times I was there trying to get like ideas and how am I going to do this and that, and like sometimes I just need to fucking sit down and talk, and I think that would be good enough. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate all the support and have a great time, guys. Absolute legends.